Starting from historic folklore to even Bollywood movies, India versus England in a cricket match always creates excitement. And as the new test cycle of the World Test Championship begins for both India and England, running into early summer, England are set to host India for this five-match test series, which was previously called the Patodi series. But just today, we got to know that two more legends have made their names into the naming of the series, which is now going to be called the Anderson Tendulkar series. This five-match test series is not only important for England, who are entrusted by ICC to host the ICC Test Championship finals up till the cycle of 2031, only because they always end up outside the top two. And this time, they would want to make a very, very strong start to their bid to try and go and get into the finals at least, and then get a home advantage. England have seen New Zealand and South Africa bypass them into the finals and get that mace. India, on the other hand, have gone to the Test Championship final on the first two occasions, but lost them first to New Zealand and then to Australia. So for India, the story of almosts is also something they want to erase during this Test Championship cycle. Now, talking about some important aspects before this series begins, we know it starts in a few hours. The most important thing, if you're an Indian fan, you'd want to look at this new era. For people like me who've watched Test cricket for almost 20 years now, it is hard to see an India Test side without the likes of Rohit Sharma or Virat Kohli, for instance, and then even Ravichandran Ashwin, who's been one of the most important key players for India over the last couple of decades in Test cricket at least. So what's this new look India that we're talking about? Let's start from the captaincy itself. So Shubman Gill, just in his 20s, has been entrusted with the captaincy of this India team post the Virat Kohli Rohit Sharma era. So on him, the management, the board really has a lot of trust. And then if you look at the dynamics of who he's going to be working with as his head coach, it's Gautam Gambhir. So I think from a different perspective, it would be a different kind of a positive dynamic when Gautam Gambhir is going to work with a young mind like Shubman Gill. Maybe things might be different in a way that India could think of innovative solutions to different kinds of problems, and they could maybe take some brave steps since everyone has a clean slate at the moment in this Indian side. So England have a very, very good record. A record to be envious about and a record to be concerned about if you're Team India. England have not lost to India at Headingley for the last 23 years. And India have tried there. They've gone in 4 separate instances, but they've failed to win. The last win came in 2002. So for India, this mission is not just to establish themselves as a new look outfit heading into this Test Championship. It would also be the attempt to try and win a series against England in England for the first time in many, many years. The challenge is big. The players are big as well. Let's look at the Indian 11, for instance. I've actually looked at what Harsha had to say about his predicted 11. I've watched Sanjay Manjrekar give out his starting 11. And from there, I did not find a lot of gaps. Almost everything was aligned. It just narrowed down to one single point regarding whether to play an extra spinner in the form of Kuldeep Yadav or not. Both of them talked about the kind of surfaces that Headingley might produce. And then they've also talked about how the opposition is lining up. So India actually at this point have an advantage over England because England have already put out their starting 11 for the first test. So the two biggest thorns to India's success in previous occasions, the Anderson Broad effect, are not going to be there. Who are the ones that are lining up for England in this 11? Jofra Archer is out injured, Mark Wood out the same, Gus Atkinson not available. So it all comes up to what Chris Wokes is going to do. He's going to be accompanied by a couple of young guns who are going to try and prove themselves at home. And then they've got Bashir as a spinner. So we've already talked about the bottom 4 of England in their starting 11. And now let's look at the top seven, where it's more or less settled. The only contentious point was who's going to bat at number three, but England have confirmed Ole Pope is going to take that place. So it's going to be Crawley and Duckett to open, and then Ole Pope at number three, and then England's most important batter, Joe Root, coming in at number four, who currently seems like the best test batter in the world right now, if you ask me. And after Joe Root comes in, Harry Brook, who's already proven his mantle so far, and I think has established himself as a proper middle order batter for England in tests. And then comes in Ben Stokes, the captain. Him at number six, and then Smith, the keeper batter, at number seven. That actually forms a very, very formidable, very aggressive batting lineup that England have, which have depth as well, and the adaptability as well. So once you get to the new ball, I think it would be a very good opportunity for all these batters to try and play that aggressive brand and get the results that they need. Nowadays in Test cricket, you will have results, and England love to play this results-oriented game. They'll push the opponent to play that way if needed. So that's what the England 11 looks like. Now, let's get into the discussion where we talk about the Indian starting 11. So we've talked about the captain, Shubman Gill. We've talked about Rishabh Pant, his deputy. These two are definitely going to feature. Jasprit Bumrah is part of the squad, but is he going to play 5 tests? If not, what are the 3 tests that he is going to play? I think India would want to start strong. So definitely for the first test, I think Bumrah is an automatic choice as well. Just going from the top, I think KL Rahul as an opener, again, a new role for him, but I'm pretty much sure he's adept at trying to prove himself up top, and he will have to do the toughest job. And that job is to blunt the new ball in testing conditions where the ball moves sideways in England. So that's going to be his challenge. And then with him, you've got this exuberant Yashasvi Jaiswal. At number 3 is the captain Shubman Gill. And then at number 4, it's Sai Sudarshan. I think he's going to be picked over Ishwaran. And then at number 5, you've got Rishabh Pant. At number 6, you've got Karun Nair. That forms a very, very solid top 6. And then you've got the all-rounder in the form of Ravindra Jadeja. So this is a very good-looking top 7 where you have a combination of right-hand, left-hand batters. You've got a combination of players with good technique and players who are adaptable to play the new ball and the old ball as well. But if this is the top 6 and then Jadeja at number 7, India actually have an opportunity to put in a genuine fast bowling all-rounder. Who's that going to be? That's also a point of contention. Would it be Nitish Kumar Reddy, who I think should be the front runner to get into the side? He has got competition from Shardul Thakur. So one of the two I think is going to get in this side. For me, I would pick Nitish Kumar Reddy. And I'd go with Sanjay Manjrekar on this. He picked Nitish Kumar Reddy at number 8. And then after that, the 3 bowlers. Is there going to be a spinner? Are we going to have another spinner in this India team except for the left-arm spin of Ravindra Jadeja? So the only option there are 2, either of Washington Sundar or Kuldeep Yadav. I think if they pick a second spinner, it should be Kuldeep Yadav. And I think India might pick the second spinner because you really don't know what type of conditions you might have throughout the 5 days. So, of course, there is an overcast situation. But if the weather is dry, spinners might come into play at some point of time. We've seen that in the ICC Test Championship final as well, where the Australian spinners, even the South African spinners, they were actually having an impact in the game as the days went on. So having a second spinner is a great advantage. And I think if you have Nitish Kumar Reddy as your number 8, who can bowl and who can bat as well, you have an option to have 2 genuine fast bowlers in the form of Jasprit Bumrah and Mohammad Siraj, and then also have Kuldeep Yadav at number 11. So this, I think, would be a more balanced India side who has a bit more experience, a bit more variety in their bowling. And if you look at it from a broader perspective, what are the bigger battles that each of them are going to face going into this series? The first big battle is, I think, to recognize the strengths and weaknesses of each of your opponents. And then when you look at India, you see a comparatively inexperienced batting lineup, where Shubman Gill, Rishabh Pant, and KL Rahul, for example, these are the guys who are going to be the senior statesmen. And then the others, they actually don't have a lot of test experience, and especially experience of playing tests in tough conditions in England. So that would be a big challenge, and I think England would want to look at that and feel that they have got a chance to rattle India, at least try and get at the batters right from the beginning. That might be a telling point in the entirety of the series if you look at it that way. Looking at England, you'll see that they don't have the firepower to go and really get on top of the Indian batting order. Or do they? That is the question, right? So Chris Wokes is in. He's definitely going to play. But not having Archer, not having Gus Atkinson, not having Mark Wood, I think this is a big, big blow for England. And even having Brydon Cars or Josh Stang, would they be potent enough to take on this Indian batting lineup who'd also want to play an aggressive brand of cricket? So I think the first test would be a very, very different one from the others, because if the likes of Jofra Archer and Mark Wood come back for the second test, English bowling lineup would look much more stronger. So looks like a mouth-watering affair between India and England as both teams go and start their test championship cycles. India would go and try to play positive cricket because, as their captain said, they've got nothing to lose. They're a new team. They want to play a new brand of cricket, and they would experience a lot of new things in England. And then, on the other hand, England would really want to establish their supremacy at home and really want to pave a way for themselves to get into the Test Championship final, at least at the end of this cycle. And beating India would be a big step towards it. Do like the video and subscribe to the channel, All Sport ABP. And of course, you're free to put your comments in. What do you think would be a good starting 11 for India, especially against this England side? Please let me know in the comments. A very, very good night to you all. Ta-da.